Welcome to Tiny Glade. This will be a series of short stories, whether it is the continuation of one or the start of a new one. Once a chapter is told, I will build on this story in silence until the next chapter is ready. So prepare some tea and grab a blanket, for our story is about to begin. Once upon a time, there was a young woman who fled a great city that rests upon the land. She was accused of performing witchcraft, and in fear for her own safety, she ran into the woods. Hopelessly lost and afraid of nightfall, she kept going, unsure in the darkness of the trees. But a light shines, as if beckoning her to follow. But before she can feel the sun's rays upon her skin, a young man joins her. A friend, someone she trusts. Someone she cured long ago as sickness ravaged his body. Together they find this tiny glade. And together they build her a home. For this young woman was no witch, but simply a chemist, an herbalist that enjoyed healing people, curing people of their ailments. And in this home, she continued her passion. She grew her herbs, crafted her poultices and creams. The young man who joined her delivered these medicines to those who still required them back in the city. For a time, this was good. She continued to heal, and in turn the young man was able to visit the young woman in this tiny glade. However, on a dark and stormy day, the young man was not as careful as he had been, rushing to get out of the wind and the rain. He slipped on the cobblestone roads on the way to a patient, the poultices falling out of his pack. He was caught and was too exiled from the city. When our young woman heard the news, she was not afraid, nor was she sad. She simply said, "We'll have to find another way." In truth, she was lonely in this tiny glade. She was worried in her heart that this passion would die and there would be no one to help. But perhaps this story has something left for her. And now that the young man has joined her in this tiny glade, he will build a home that he too can live in. The chapter has been told. And our two characters, the young woman and the young man, have so much left in their story, but that will have to wait until the next chapter, for they have a home to build. Join me as I craft a house for the young man in this story, right amongst the trees of this very tiny glade. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you enjoyed hearing the story as much as I enjoyed telling it. In our next chapter, someone else comes across this tiny glade. What is their story, and how does it intertwine with our two characters? I hope you'll join me next time for the continuation of hope within a tiny glade.